My name is Vexilon and I'm a closeted furry. So what better way to come out of the closet to the entire internet than by putting on my maid outfit and surviving 100 days as a druid in Ark Survival Ascended. Being a druid doesn't just let me live out my justified degeneracy, it also gives me the power to cast seismic blasts strong enough to slap you into La La Land within one hit, and transforming into any living creature that I desire. And yes, I mean any. Dodos, titans, your mom. Okay, not your mom. I'm not strong enough for that. And we won't get any stronger by standing around, so let's spawn in. On day 1, we awaken an ancient desert temple. I thought the druids were keepers of the forest, but I guess we haven't underwent the transformation yet. Anyhow, walking out of the temple, we are greeted by funky Egyptian music. Wow, what a warm welcome. I could stay here forever. Sadly, we had to part ways with the tunes, as we've got the forest to protect. Making our way across the bridge, we land ashore the sandy wastes of Tarat. God, this map looks absolutely stunning. Close to the landing site, there was a small settlement that included a few sandstone huts, as well as some refining forges and storage boxes. There was also this loot crate that, upon opening it, granted me a pair of metal tools in the shapes of a metal hatchet and a metal pickaxe. It would seem that the gods of Tarat are in high spirits today. If that's the case, then why not stay here for the time being until we grow stronger? I mean, this place isn't that bad, honestly. Look, we even get a free bed. Where else do you get a free bed other than prison? On the topic of free loot, it was about time to introduce ourselves to the nearby wildlife. They deserve to know who the new local druid is. And what better way to make a first impression than to shove a hatchet into this dodo's cranium? Look, okay, I never said I was explicitly a friendly druid. Think of me more as an anti-hero instead. If it benefits me, I will be skinning you alive. However, on the same note, I could also be saving you. Your chances of not undergoing inhumane amounts of torture lessen if you subscribe. So, go ahead and smash that subscribe button if you want to live. Self-plugging aside, the next step in our path towards becoming the alpha furry is to acquire the Staff of Primal Earth, which we actually already had. Wait, we already get it. Oh, okay. Turns out I just needed to slide my arm into my asshole and pull it out from the shadowy depths. Dear God, this script is an abomination. Now's about the right time to cover up my horrible and disgusting unhinged humor with explaining how the druid class works. For those of you who have eagle eyes, you probably noticed the gigantic blue bar in the top left of the screen. This is the mana bar. The druid class uses mana for actions such as casting healing and torpor spells and transforming into dinos. But Vex, how do you transform into dinos? Well, my dear viewer, that is fairly simple. Just put an object with a tail attached to it where the sun doesn't shine, get on all fours, and start meowing. Stop making those jokes. You will get demonetized. As I was saying, you use the Staff of Primal Earth that we got beforehand to start hitting the desired dino. My dog is barking, which starts the absorption process. The staff does 0 damage for the sake of not killing the dino, and its scale is based off of how much HP the dino has. Which means that smaller dinos like the dodos, listros, and such are very easy to absorb, but bulky dinos like the gigas, karchas, and titans take a lot of time. And yes, you heard me right. You can absorb titans, which honestly is such a beautiful mechanic. I am loving this mod already. Since this mod is heavily inspired based on Dungeons and Dragons, the scaling is also pretty self-explanatory. But for the sake of not overloading your peanut brain with information, I will hold off on explaining the system further and we'll go back to it a little later. At least you know the base mechanics, which is enough for now. With this newfound power discovered, our first quest of taming a berry mule for our druidic rites has officially begun. So, exploring was in order to find a fitting match for such a task. And I've got to admit, I am so glad I chose Tarat for this video. I mean, look at how beautiful this map is. I could stare at the scenery for the entire day. However, our sightseeing was cut short by none other than the Grim Reaper's fucking child. Yeah, You heard me. A grim dodo just popped up out of nowhere.
Hello there.
And sent me to the Shadow Realm. What? I guess that the Grim Reaper himself got mad at me stealing his job and sent Death Jr. to massacre me. I mean, there's really nothing I can do to retaliate at the gods smiting me with their divine punishment. So, getting my stuff back, I continued exploring to soothe my nerves. And it sure as hell was actually very calming. Because look at what I stumbled upon after just a tiny bit of exploring. Yeah, we'll be checking that area out later for sure. However, we mustn't get sidetracked. The Berry Gatherer is mandatory. After a little more exploration, I finally found a fitting creature to transmute into. A Parasaur. Low level, weak, and the perfect prey. Yes, this is the dino that we need. Piercing its thunderous thighs with my staff, it tried running away.
Bye, have a great time.
But our thirst for ties was stronger than its will to live, so we caught up easily and absorbed the Parasaur. Now we can finally farm berries in peace, which we did until the sunrise of the following day. Now, since our mana was low, I could only maintain the form for a few seconds at best, so I just ended up farming berries the old-fashioned way and got my hands dirty. Oh, and on the topic of mana, let me explain to you the scaling system I came up with. So, our mana bar naturally starts at 600 and increases by 20 for each level we gain. And to transmute into a dino costs 100 mana and drains 100 per second, which is as sustainable as trying to hold a conversation with a 2020 My Hero Academia fan.
Todoroki, this is my mom. Mom, this is my Todoroki. No, wait, no.
Hello, I'm his Todoroki.
It's not. So, in order to get stronger, we must achieve certain milestones, such as crafting certain items or absorbing certain dinos, which in return buffs all of our stats. So, for example, the mana per level gets increased to 40 instead of 20, transform cost goes down by 33%, so on and so forth. The earliest milestone we can get is the Feral Gauntlet. Legend says that whoever obtains this primeval garment will be granted the form of any fictional character of their desire. So, with the possibility of becoming Goku, Joseph Joestar, or Monkey-Man now on the table, the first major objective was officially set. However, that's days away. For now, let's focus on the task at hand, which is touching these bushes inappropriately and harvesting their fruits. And while doing so, I happen to acquire the Torpor spell. Now, I'm no genius, alright? However, the name of this spell possibly indicates that it sends out a hollow violet circle that, upon contact with a living being, does both physical and torpor damage. Oh my god, would you look at that? That is exactly what it does. My foresight is 2020. This must mean the druidification process is doing its thing. And if there's any message to harvest from this whole scenario, it's probably that touching plant life inappropriately gives you cool spells. Soon enough, I'll turn from a Cheeto tiger into a Cheeto bear and maul my enemies into oblivion. Next thing you know, Joe Rogan is going to be talking about some orange Cheeto bear mauling people in the forest. Until then, I'll have to resort to using primitive weaponry in the form of a bow and some arrows. However, that isn't enough, since if we go hunting naked, the chances of us getting ambushed by middle-aged men with one too many Reddit thread subscriptions skyrockets. So, making a set of hide armor was in order to protect our cheeks from being cheeked. And if you're wondering what that means, I don't fucking know, dude. I made it up, okay? Anyhow, I had to quickly rejoin the game because my PC was overheating. Loading back in, I noticed that the loot I put inside of the campsite boxes was gone. And not just the boxes, the forges were also empty. Bro, I literally left for 2 seconds. 2 seconds! And everything's gone. Everything. My fiber, hide, thatch, 16 cans of the Ultra Strawberry Dreams Monster, and all of my culturally significant 2D literature that totally wouldn't get me demonetized on YouTube got sent to the Shadow Realm by the IRS. So, in conclusion, the structures in the little settlement are as useful as a homemade flashlight, aka discard after a single use. However, when times are grim and your PP size is slim, just make a Mega Hexonix Kaiju Chibi to cure your clinical depression. Now that we are fully equipped with both offensive and defensive armaments, we can finally depart on our taming journey. Venturing out, I didn't even make it that far before I stumbled upon a level 20 PT. A humble yet very useful tame, as it will allow us to soar through the skies. Walking up to it, I cast my torpor spell and swiftly sent it into a barely conscious state. Which after, I poked it with my staff and absorbed its form. Now we can finally conquer the skies. One slow flap of wings at a time. However, our mana reserves are still very low, so we can only maintain the form for a few seconds at best. So, we'll have to keep crawling through the jungle bushes like our forefathers for the time being. However, we can't even do that in peace, as one wrong step will result in us slipping, falling down a cliff, and splattering across the ground, coating the surrounding flora, fauna, and whatever else there is, crimson red. Now, going back to get my stuff, I noticed I had some weird purple cosmetic in my inventory, and equipping it, I turned into a skeleton that looks like he was drenched in lean.
Oh, I can be a skeleton. What the fuck?
Yeah, this mod just keeps surprising me. Nearby, I heard a lot of loud stomps. It's as if there was an earthquake happening. And at first, I thought it was your mom walking.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
However, upon further inspection, it was just a herd of Brontos. And underneath them, a trike, which I proceeded to knock out in just 3 casts of my torpor spell. And going up to feed it, I realized that it was a level 115. Oh my god! This was very good, as we've got an actual berry gatherer knocked out. All that's left to do is to give it some Mako berries and wait for it to tame. Which, after doing so, took until the early hours of day 3 to finish up. By the time it tamed up, I started hallucinating so much that I saw crystals in the distance.
There's some crystals over there, and I wanna go check out. Because I really want an awesome spyglass.
The thought of having an awesome spyglass had me frothing at the mouth, so I flew over there, slowly but surely. And as it turned out, it was just the crystals around the green obelisk. Well, if I got this far, I might as well continue exploring the map. Who knows what awaits us in the wasteful dunes of Tarat? Energy drinks? Pokemon booster packs? Golf girls? God, I hope I'm 3 for 3 on this one. Traversing the thick jungles in the search for treasures and a will to live, I got ambushed by a small-time gang of dildos. I mean, dillos. Yeah, this is awkward. Seriously though, I was just out here minding my own Cheeto business when, out of nowhere, an entire battalion of these slimy fucks jumped me. However, despite their numbers, they stood no chance against me. Combining the power of walking backwards and shooting sharp objects into their skulls, I swiftly eliminated the attackers and resumed my conquest in the search of whatever the hell I was searching for at the time. I don't even remember. Oh yeah, that's right. Crystal, yeah. So, you know how that material is pretty easy to get on most maps, right? Well, here on Tarat, no the fuck it isn't. I kid you not. I flew high and low, snapped my spinal cord in half, mentally broke down several times, and ate a Big Mac. Wait, the last one is a good thing. Or wait, no, is it? I think that eating heavily processed food with no actual nutritious value is a very good thing and should be done by everyone. Also, keep in mind that everything I said there was a comedic bit and should not be taken seriously. It's kinda come to the point where I need to specify that the idiotic stuff I say in this video and all of my videos is satire, because I've started to get a lot of comments calling me out on it. Such as, oh my god, bro, you say your channel is too bad, but then you do diss tracks on the top 5 flyers the false times. Of course the channel is doing best because you're the haterings on the bestest dinosaurs in the flying of the games. So, take all of my wild and unhinged bits with a grain of salt. Damn, I never thought I'd have to spoon-feed my humor to people, but here we are. Anyhow, even though I didn't find an ounce of crystal, I did find a level 110 Pteranodon on the beach.
Woo! Yeah, baby!
Finally, a worthy tame! I waited for it to land, then walking up to it, bola in hand, I said, bola in hand? Okay, why the hell can't I equip the bola in my hotbar? Have the gods cursed me with the ancient, not able to equip bolas, curse? Oh no, I thought it was just a rumor, but it's real! The bola curse is real!
I can swap everything else in and out, but I can't swap in the bola. Why?
Yeah, I was actually losing my shit so much that I threw a bowl out of my inventory, then started tweaking and blaming the game for despawning my bola.
Wait, if I search bola, it says it doesn't exist. What? I still can't! Hello?
Yeah, I am mentally unwell. I was done playing along the gods' folly, so I just pimp slapped it with my torpor spell and knocked it out.
I like your cut, G.
I was still losing my marbles though, trying to figure out why I couldn't equip the bolas. Eventually, I gave up on trying to make sense of the situation and took my anger out on a Bronto, knocking it out. Now, I did this to get some prime meat to make the taming effectiveness faster, like one usually does. And after collecting said meat, I was about to go back and feed the Pteranodon. However, to my utter shock, horror, and despair, the Pteranodon was dead. How? Why? When? How again? My answer to all of those questions is I don't fucking know. However, there was a Kyanodon next to the crime scene, so with no evidence of it being the cold-blooded killer other than its diet, I had an outburst of violence and caved its skull in. Returning back to base, defeated, a grim dodo tried ambushing me. So, in retaliation, I spammed it with my torpor spell, which at the time was doing a pretty solid amount of damage.
Now that's a lot of damage!
And after tanking more than 30 torpor spell it hit me with the one ultimate attack that I was not capable of countering, which was nuking my PC and freezing my frames for a solid few seconds.
Oh, you're close. My frames!
Resulting in me dying and raging so much I pooped my pants.
Why? Fucking PowerPoint presentation, dude. Ark Survival Ascended? No! PowerPoint presentation revolutionized!
Picking myself up and switching out the dookie-stained underwear for a fresh pair, I picked a handful of various types of berries and combined them with some silica pearls to forge the feral Gauntlet. Now, this thing was no Weenie Cut Juniors, okay? Because it cost me 100 skill points. And for what it's worth, the buffs it gave were surely worth the knowledge spent, as this druidic relic empowered us enormously. Not only bumping down our transformation cost by 33%, but our mana drain speed too, and doubling the amount of max mana we had. Plus, from now on, every time we level up, we will be gaining an extra 20 max mana. If you think this is broken, then cry me a river. However, on a real note, the next power-up is a decent while off, since the next milestones that we can work towards are either collecting 10 artifacts or slaying a mighty foe. So don't worry about us being too strong. As of right now, we don't have enough firepower to bring our intrusive thoughts to life. Yet. However, we do have enough fly power to depart towards the ancient city we saw a little while ago, where we arrived at the start of day 5. Since, if it's anything like the one back at Extinction, it'll have tech furniture which I can harvest for crystals. Because the awesome spyglass is as important to me as cigarettes and beer are to a 16-year-old emo girl. I can't live without it. The city itself was overgrown with plants and thriving with life, That's all nice and dandy. However, I'm not here for sightseeing, okay? Just for some crystals. The forenamed was soon enough acquired, and so was our awesome spyglass. Awesome! You know what else is awesome? My progression note writing skills. So, while playing the game, I write down notes based on the events that happen, like shown here. And I wrote Dino Balls bit. However, upon further inspection, I came to the conclusion that I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So, I'm sorry, but because I'm inept at doing absolutely anything, you're not getting a potentially funny bit. What you're getting instead is me searching for treasure. Yeah, I saw this skull that was very far away with glowing eyes that seemed like they held treasure inside. So I flew over to it. After all, who doesn't like treasure? But, to my disappointment, there were no chests filled to the brim with golden jewelry and endless Richards. Richards? What? Just flames. What? Are you potentially expecting a joke here because of the tone in which I said flames? Well, to your grand misfortune, as of writing this script, I am currently filled with 2 Big Macs and mini pizzas, and cannot think of any humorous paraphernalia to present to you. So, now, I will go brush my teeth. Wait, I'm going off track. Anyhow, exploring around the map for a hot minute, I found a level 35 Rex. And I wanted to have a trump card which I could transform into if things got rough. So, I knocked it out with a swift torpor geometric shape to the nape. And absorbed it while it was still sleeping. Now we can effectively defend ourselves in case of an attack. And nearby the absorption site, I found a level 135 PT. Oh my god, finally! Don't screw it up, Vex. Don't screw it up. Phew. It's out. Good. Now, we just need to get some prime meat, and hopefully this time the Pteranodon doesn't get violently touched while it's sleeping. We got before mentioned meat pretty quickly, and to our great fortune and joy, the divinities of Tarat smiled upon us, as when we returned, the Pteranodon's booty cheeks were left fully intact. Just as we left them. Giving it the prime meat, it soon tamed up, finally granting us the mount fit for the task of conquering the skies. Now, not even the gods could face us. Continuing our search, I stumbled upon a wild Dreadnoughtus.
Oh, God, it's so fucking big.
Now, I was taken aback by the appearance of such a beast in a place like this, so I had the frivolous idea of trying to absorb it. If I succeeded in this quest, I would become unstoppable. So, the strategy for acquiring such power was simple at first. Just shank it out with the torpor spell, come up to it, and start poking away. However, upon knocking it out, I came to the realization that it has an extremely fast torpor drain. This means that if I want to pursue the quest of acquiring its form, I'll have to manage its torpidity while stabbing it with my staff. Simple on paper, torture in practice. This turned out to be the extreme test of my endurance that, if I were to complete, would separate me from your casual day-to-day druid to being on a higher existential plane. So, the task at hand was simple. Absorb the Dreadnoughtus. Which took me an entire 30 minutes to do! Yes! 30 motherfucking minutes! 30 minutes of my life are sacrificed for the sake of becoming this big thing. By the time I absorbed it, the sun on day 6 has already been up for so long that I had a bright red handprint on my right ass cheek from being pimp slapped by the Ark gods. In the end, however, it was all worth it, as we've obtained the dinosaur equivalent of the armored titan. Now, nothing can dare to stand and try opposing us. I was prepared to go back home and relax for the rest of the day, since I was pretty tired from completing this ordeal. However, on my way home, an ancient creature crossed paths with me. An Alpha Zaldrir dragon. This thing thought it had aura, flying all high and mighty. However, it didn't know that I was coached by the great Sir Piccolo himself. Not only am I an aspiring druid, I am also a student in the sacred arts of aura farming, which I further proved by climbing on top of the dragon's head and sitting on it until the sunrise of day 7. I'd say that 15 minutes of me sitting on its face were enough humiliation for it. God, I just realized how wrong that sounded. So, I returned back to our temporary settlement, cooking up some food because I was getting tired of munching on berries all the time. Look, we are druids, but that doesn't mean that we aren't allowed to eat some tasty dodo steak. Now that we're back at base, I wanted to gather the materials for a Pteranodon saddle so we could ride our new mount. However, I was met with a disappointing reality of the saddle being locked behind level 38. So, this meant that I had to depart to the forest and lower its population by 65%. However, I didn't feel like murdering puny dodos. I mean, they give barely any hide. So, I asked the forest for a sacrifice. And as a response to my call, it sent a pack of bloodthirsty hyenodons to my base, which I obliterated with my Dreadnoughtus. However, in my cyclone of fury, I ended up demolishing a big portion of the settlement we were staying at. This meant that it was about time to start searching for a permanent base location, which will be in the back of my mind while exploring. And while we're on the topic of base building, said task cannot be executed without adequate tools. Said tools included dinos that would provide me with as much unpaid labor as I desired. My first worker that we will be hiring is a Dodicris, which we actually found just innocently prancing by in a nearby field. Little did this rotund armadillo know that it's about to get a severe concussion and get enslaved for the rest of its life, with the only form of payment being to live to see tomorrow and some berries stuffed in its sphincter.
What did he say?
Knocking it out, it soon awoke under our command cometh day 8. With a dinosaur age equivalent of a jackhammer in our possession, we now needed an effective means of transporting it. The only dino who could fit such an important role is none other than the Argentavis itself. However, there was nothing we could really do about it other than pray that the forest spirits humor us with an Argentavis sometime down the run. For now, we've explored a good chunk of the map, venturing into the icy wastelands located in the northern hemisphere of the map. There, we've found the summoning altar used for challenging the very gods of this cursed land. This information is very useful to know, as I see an ice kaiju that would be a very strong weapon to add to our arsenal. Definitely a thought worth keeping, unlike the many others I get on a daily basis. And talking about thoughts, another one just occurred to me. Yeah, I'm kinda pushing the line of truth here with claiming I formed 2 intelligent thoughts in the span of, what, a couple seconds? But how about we think that level 145 Paradise Griffin? I mean, how could this ordeal possibly turn out in a negative manner towards me? Thankfully, it didn't, since I sure do love getting mauled to death by hordes of dire griffins. I even came back after dying to experience the blissful feeling of getting disemboweled by a flying shadow mane. Ah, yes. I love Ark so much. Returning to the base with a new set of organs in my Cheeto body, it was time to do one of, if not the worst things a 16-year-old dude with an attention span problem could be tasked with. Studying.
No. Wait.
Yeah, that's right. Since I had to spend hours of my precious life with doing trivial things like studying, I might as well share my horrible attempt at speaking German with you guys. So, sit back, relax, and let your eardrums feel the same pain as getting simultaneously hit by multiple Elrads. Österreich ist ideal zum Wandern. Es gibt Hochberge, Laresien und Schöndörfen.
784 Gipfel sind über 3000 Meter hoch.
A few minutes later.
David und Sylvie planen die nächste Wanderung im Herbst im Karwendelgebirge.
Dear God. Who knew speaking about a couple hiking in Austria in German would be this ear-gutting?
Alright, so it is now day 10. And if you're wondering how I did on my German exam, I passed with an A!
Yes! Hell yeah! Hey, come on, baby! Come on! Yes! Come on!
Oh yeah, baby! Let's go! Surely memorizing the entire hiking in Austria story in German will benefit me in my future life and enhance my mental, emotional, and intellectual prowess. Useless information aside, next task in our imaginary checklist that I'm too lazy to Photoshop— oh, never mind, I actually did Photoshop it. Wow, I'm surprised. Is to acquire a Pteranodon saddle, which we have already unlocked. Now all that's left is to craft it. And for that, we need chitin. So, to make it, I stomped on some nearby turtles, snapping their shells off of their backs, and let their huskless corpses to the carnivorous wildlife to feed on.
Whoa, calm down, Jamal. Don't pull out the 9.
I'm such a kind druid, aren't I? I mean, if feeding animals isn't the way of the druid, then I don't know what is. Back at base, I merged the smashed turrets' skulls with some hide and fiber, and made myself a Pteranodon saddle. Going up to the PT to saddle it up, I realized it had a random 64 skill points available for distribution. How? What? When? Why? Why again? Let's not ask questions that make sense, just accept it. After all, I'd rather have my PT with 64 skill points than 64 sexually transmitted illnesses. Because that would mean that this prehistoric pterosaur would have more game than me, and I can't allow myself to be one-upped by this flying lizard thing, because that would honestly crush my already fragile ego into the ground. Anyhow, I found one extremely interesting function with this mod, which is that while the damage scaling of your spells does scale off of your levels, who's to say that it doesn't also scale off of your dino's levels too?
Now that's a lot of damage!
Look, I won't be abusing this mechanic, but I want to take this opportunity to show you that the mod isn't perfect. Let's not get too sidetracked, however. I know you're here for my rapidly wavering mental stability, which, in all honesty, wasn't holding up very well considering the amount of times this game was crashing. Don't worry though, as it only gets worse from here. Speaking about things taking a turn for the worse, I found this floating island. What do you mean, how is that bad? Well, I don't know. Why would we look at something positively when we can just look at it negatively? Yeah, let's all just think bad thoughts 24/7 and then ask ourselves why we feel miserable. Close to the floating island of doom and terror was a cavern area, and inside the canyon was the Aberration Swamp. Oh yeah, baby, you already know that we're going to be exploring this place through and thorough. Think of all the amazing dinos that we can find here. Sarcos, dino circuses, basilisks, this baryonyx that just manifested itself into the physical realm in front of me.
Did that berry just spawn? Play it back?
Wait, hold on. I am the only one that's allowed to shit myself out of the universe's ass anywhere I want, not you! So I killed it to assert dominance. Because, of course I did. While I was trying to come to terms with the homicide I just committed, a capro jumped me out of nowhere as if trying to take revenge on its fallen swampy comrade. Unbeknownst to it, I was capable of transforming. So, I just shifted into a T-Rex, breaking its jaw and then curb stomping the little scoundrel into the ground.
Holy Jesus, that was scary.
Phew.
Okay, that was scary. Dear Lord.
The swamp will be whispering tales of me around a campfire for the next 10 years. However, not all Capros have to suffer the same fate, since if you're a high-level one, you have a slight chance of not being killed, rather instead getting enslaved.
Today's subject.
Which happened to this level 130 Capro.
This was level 130. Oh. And I made it sleep in one hit. Okay. Nice.
With a swift bonk of the torpor spell on its cerebral cortex, it quickly departed to La La Land. After it went to sleep, I ethically sourced some prime meat from the nearby dinos. Feeding it to the sleeping alligatorian, I easily tamed it. Wowie! Surely I will be making hefty use of this tame later on, and I totally won't forget of its existence.
Capu cappuccino assassino.
Speaking about forgetting that something exists, do you guys remember that there are wyverns in this game? Well, I surely didn't while recording, as I was flabbergasted when I found a wyvern trench at the end of the Aberration Cavern.
Oh. Is this the Wyvern trench?
No, Recording Vex. Why would a canyon with molten lava in it be a wyvern trench?
Okay, this is the Wyvern trench. I don't think that we are really equipped to go in here.
Yeah, we're not going in there, no shot. Not just because I'm too weak to steal an egg, let alone raise it, but if I do get a wyvern this early on, I'll probably get executed in the comments section because I got an OP team too early in the video. So, for the sake of making this video even harder and more satisfying to the die-hard Ark fanbase that likes to see my mental health spiral into new all-time lows, I executed my Pteranodon. What? Yeah, so who would have thought that hitting my Pteranodon with a spell capable of ionizing its entire neurological muscle composition would cause it to die?
Oh, where's the body? I need the saddle. It's here. No! What have I done? My poor baby.
This was extremely disappointing, and I dare to call myself the protector of the forest. My actions have led me to nothing but pure, unfiltered disgust.
Disgusting!
I have slaughtered my comrade in cold blood, all because of my carelessness. So, in order to atone for my sins, I started complaining about not finding a high-level RG.
I need an Anki, I need a new PT, I need everything, dude, okay? So, game, just like a level 110 or 120 RG.
And it would seem that the forest heard my cries of anguish and despair. As watch what happened just a few seconds after I finished my sentence.
Oh! What? 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 No way! Yo! Ah, let's go, baby! Oh my goodness! Hell yeah! Guys, I swear on my left testicle, this is not scripted, okay?
Wow, is this why women complain so much?
Meanwhile, in the time chamber.
Wow, is this why women complain so much?
That was a funny joke.
Vex! What the fuck did I say about making dangerous jokes? What, bro? Chill, it's clearly a joke! No, not to them. To who, dude? Who are you talking about, you schizophrenic? The feminists.
Oh dear lord, how do I fix this? Please help me!
Only one way, young one. A technique taught by our forefathers generations before us. Your only chance of survival is to self-deprecate. I am extremely sorry for my actions, oh High Council of Internet Humor. I realize that my statements, although satirical and humorously intended, have deeply upset you and offended you, even though that was not my intention. I deserve to be publicly crucified, stoned, and mercilessly beaten to death with steel pipes, all because I dared to make a semi-dangerous joke. Please, I am begging you, if you could find even a sliver of forgiveness for the likes of my disgusting self, I would be forever grateful to you. So please, find some space in your hearts and forgive my poor soul. There, is that good enough? We'll let him live.
For now.
Out of our sights, worm. You, thank fuck. If I needed to apologize for every semi-dangerous joke I made, I'll just turn into a commentary YouTuber instead, dude. That's on you, kiddo. I'm getting back to my dominatrix, though. You have fun with the rest of the video. Oh, Vex! You sure took your sweet time talking with your friend. You weren't cheating on me, were you? What? No, I would never do that. You've been a naughty boy, and you know what happens to naughty boys. No. Please, no. Please. Anything but that. Please! You already know how this ends, Vex.
Bend over and spread.
No! No! Help me! Help! Help me! What the fuck has my channel become? Let's put the jokes that tread into very dangerous territories and could very well get me cancelled aside for now, and focus on taming this Sergeant Davis. Which we did after clearing the area of aggressive dinos and knocked it out with a swift chop to the neck.
Yes! No! No! Get the fuck away!
After it went to sleep, it took until the early hours of day 12 to tame up.
Heyo. I'll name you Flappy McChicken.
With the transporter of our goods now acquired, we may return home in peace and virtue. However, while returning, I got ambushed by a pack of pyromanes.
Oh, they're...
Ah! And, in self-defense of course, I knocked them out with my torpor spell. Which has become my main armament at this point due to its capability of immobilizing foes swiftly. Because, clearly, when someone tries jumping you out of nowhere, the only appropriate response is telepathic anesthesia. Walking up to the sleeping pyro feline, I wanted to test out the possibility of absorbing paid dinos. And what happened next couldn't even be foreseen by the gods themselves. As this mod, this beautiful gem of a mod, allowed me to absorb paid dinos.
What the fuck? Oh my god! Yo!
Yes, you heard me! With this free mod, you can use paid dinos. If this isn't enough of a reason to go support Pinkwick, then I seriously don't know what is. I mean, think about it. You get to shit on a wild card for locking dinos behind paywalls, and you also get to support someone that truly deserves it. However, absorbing the pyromane was kinda underwhelming. I didn't really like this theme. It was kinda mid. Especially for 5 doubloons. But okay. Let's move on from that underwhelming experience. So I kept on exploring throughout the sandy dunes of Tarat, and I stumbled upon a newly added creature. An eldritch horror that looks almost as disgusting as my old arts and crafts teacher, the Dinotherium.
Brother.
This hairy, disgusting sack of flesh was honestly so unappealing that I didn't even really want to tame it.
Why you bully me?
However, curiosity curb stomped the Cheeto Tiger. We all know how this ends. I just had to try taming it. And walking up to it, it started squaring up with me.
He stopped squaring up with me.
Belly go! Belly go! And then tried trampling me.
Ah! You ungrateful dipshit!
This majorly angered me. So, in a completely family-friendly manner, I said some words of encouragement to it and walked off. Thankfully, it wasn't entirely futile, as I found a beaver right next to the area where the hairy elephant made me lose my marbles. Which I knocked out, and then farmed 1,000 narco berries with my Dreadnoughtus. What did I do with those narco berries, you might ask? Start a drug empire, sell them all to Austin from Schedule 1? Neither. I just forcibly shoved them down this beaver's throat. Don't worry, as it consented beforehand. I just cut that part out for dramatic effect. The same way I cut the part where I waited for it to tame up, since it took up the rest of the day to do so. And after it tamed, I spotted an Elder Zaldrir dragon nearby. Which, the awesome spyglass told me that it requires items as simple as meat to tame. So I tried giving it some food. Unfortunately, it just kept eating my meat without even liking me a bit. Oh my god, that sounds so wrong. The only explanation for this is that the awesome spyglass was lying to me. Turns out you aren't as awesome as you said. Such a heart-wrenching betrayal could have never been foreseen by me. As a compromise, I ended up knocking the beast out and absorbing it instead. When, upon trying to transform into it, I was met with a sad reality. Since I took its form while it was in a resting position, I wasn't able to fly or even attack. And before you ask, no, I cannot simply stand up, because that would require Ark to work on common sense. And we all know that is not a plausible possibility in this game. Let's just forget about all of this bullshit and go home, man. I genuinely don't wanna be here anymore. While returning home, I stumbled upon one of those grim dodo thingies that killed me a couple days back. Now that we've got the adequate firepower to best this thing, it's about time to teach it who's the boss. Let me tell you, I literally brutalized the Grim Reaper's minion with my Dreadnoughtus. It stood no chance against me despite having over 30,000 HP. This just proves how far we've come in this run. And we aren't even a fifth of the way there. I can't even imagine how strong we are going to become after besting the mighty foes. But let's focus on what's ahead of us for now, which is moving towards the next base location. To start that off, we went back to our small settlement, cryoed our Triton Druid, yoink, and said goodbye to the small village for one last time. Goodbye, my little shack. You will be remembered. Not fondly, but remembered. Arriving to the spot on the sunrise of day 15, I slapped down a foundation, some boxes and refining forges, filled them up with some wood, and left the metal to smelt while I went to explore around the map. Now, while I did do a little bit of exploring beforehand, I haven't ventured out into the sandy area of the map at all. So, going there for some sightseeing, I had quite the sights to see. There are a lot of very cool dinos, such as thorny dragons, Basilisucuses, rock golems, gas bags, and even element veins. Okay, those maybe aren't dinos, but you get it. A lot of cool stuff. This area will be fun to scavenge later on. For now at least, we're going to be using the thriving wildlife in this area for our own benefit, which is committing massive amounts of omnicide towards every single biological form of life and matter on this island. Said ordeal commenced at the beginning of the next game, and upon starting the operation, it soon came to a halt when I faced an Alpha Zaldrir dragon. This thing was bound to grant me heaps of XP if I were to slay it. So I did just that. Shifting into my strongest form right off the bat, I wasn't holding back. The battle was fierce and lasted for a good chunk of time. It's currently 2 a.m. in the morning as of me writing this script, so the joke is still being under construction. Please come back later.
3 days later.
Where was I? Oh yeah, right. It lasted almost as long as me trying to pay attention to my friend singing her music song in VC. It ended simultaneously.
You need to put more exaggeration on it.
Oh, sorry. Let me do this again. Is that better?
Thank you.
Her goddamn annoying singing voice wasn't letting me focus for jack shit. With these ear-gutting sounds of pure agony and despair, my body was filled with endless amounts of insatiable wrath. So I took out my anger and bloodlust on a nearby Bronto and some raptors. Doing so, it landed me at level 61.
You thought I was gonna say 69, didn't you? You sick fuck.
Only a single level separates us from being able to forge the Argentavis saddle. Soon enough, with a few more lives slain by our hands, we've reached level 62 and unlocked the desired saddle. Now, we shall head back towards the base and start forging it. Surprisingly, our mission took an unexpected detour when, suddenly, out of nowhere, I stumbled upon a level 145 T-Rex roaming in the wild.
Wow.
This would further enhance our arsenal by a substantial margin. So, I was tasked with taming it. Flying down, I swiftly subdued it with my torpor incantation and guarded its sleeping body, waiting for it to tame. While I was waiting for the beast to starve, I spotted a nearby beaver. So, considering I'd need a hefty supply of timber later down the line, as I will be constructing an actual base this time, and no, I don't mean a 60 foundation flat area with walls, an actual, real druid abode was going to get constructed. So, resources like wood, stone, thatch, and butt plugs with foxtails attached to them were all mandatory for base construction. In which case, I figured I'd absorb it for future use. Which I did. And after doing so, spotted a herd of wild dinos uncomfortably close to the unconscious Rex. In fact, it was almost as uncomfortable as a random dude gifting me Discord Nitro and then calling himself my sugar daddy. No, I am not kidding. This was a real thing said to me by a grown-ass man in his 20s. Fellow miners of the internet, this is the exact reason we don't take anything from strangers for free. You don't want random strangers on the internet that look like overgrown orangutans weaponizing your acceptance of their kindness. Trust me on this. I'm talking from experience. While we're on the topic of experience, let's talk about love. Something that I personally have absolutely zero experience with. So, tell me, for all of you lovebirds out there, is this Riz? Yay! Hi! Wanna hear something funny?
Yes.
Me too.
What?
Are you fucking stupid?
Stop it! Stupid. You know what? I'll let you be the judge of that. Extremely socially awkward interactions with members of both genders aside, the Rex has finally awoken just as the sun has set. And the following day has been birthed anew. Alongside the young morning sun, a level 100 Pteranodon basked under its new dazzling sun rays. This was my chance. Come on, Vex! Surely you don't fuck up taming a Pteranodon for the 3rd time in a row?
No! 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 Hey, kid, you wanna watch your parents die?
Okay, let's not get into even more dangerous territories with the jokes. A certain crowd is probably still agitated by that joke I made a couple of minutes ago. Well, I think I might just give up on trying to tame a Pteranodon for the time being. The gods might have been trying to hint at us that we weren't meant for conquering the skies just yet. However, we might be fit for conquering the grounds. As, while going home, I've laid my eyes upon a level 150 fire Gigantoraptor.
What? Tarat, fire Gigantoraptor?
Now, all I knew about these things is that they liked eggs. So, naturally, I searched for any eggs nearby. And it would seem that the gods really wanted me to acquire this ferocious beast. Because a Gallimimus egg was spotted just a couple hundred meters away from the nest.
Oh! Yes! Yes! Yes, 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 yes! Gimme.
I saw it, grabbed it, and ran for my dear life. Which after, I returned to the sighting grounds. Now, the plan was to sacrifice this egg to Mama Bird while I abduct its child. And it started off surprisingly smooth, with me just sneaking into the nest without the mother even noticing me. At least, that's what I thought. As when I turned around, Mama Bird was right behind me. So, in this position, I have 3 options. Option A, defensive combat. Option B, tactical retreat. And option C, deceive and elude. Killing the mother wasn't an option since the child would refuse to be mine then. And tactically retreating would make me a pussy. So, there was only one option left, which was to act like one of its own.
The fuck you say to me, you little shit?
I pressed it!
Turns out me quitting my acting career after the first class was the right call after all. Okay, well, you know what they say. When the big MILF axe kicks you, breaks your spine, and tells you to get lost, you try again. So, come on, big girl. Can you let me chill in your nest? Pretty please?
Come over here and kiss me on my hot mouth. I'm feeling romantical.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why you should never ask the same girl out twice. Not only are you lowering your self-value, but you will also be remembering that cringe interaction where you were a down bad simp for the rest of your life. So, from this interaction, we found out 2 things. 1, we need fertilized eggs, not normal ones. And 2, I am bad at acting. And here's a fun fact so that there's 3 things mentioned, which will make this sentence sound better. My muscles are currently sore. speaking about muscle ache, my entire body is extremely sore from being stomped on by that big bird. So, to prevent that from happening again, we need to put someone else in the line of fire. And who else fits this description perfectly other than unborn children? With that in mind, I tamed a male pterosaur I found nearby. And spotting him a female, I accidentally killed it. Sorry, my boy, you aren't getting any game tonight. You know what? Thinking about it now, we should actually tame some dodos instead because they are way more abundant here. That being said, I tamed 2 dodos, one Z and another one, but sadly the male one was too shy and didn't have the balls to get to work. So I had to give him some encouragement.
Come on, do it while she's sleeping. Who cares?
Who cares, brother? Who cares? Today. Smash.
He was still reluctant though, so just like in real life, the only solution was to get another dude to pipe her instead. Stupid dodo. That's what you get for wanting to wait until marriage, and it's all your fault.
Sex. Guys, why are we not making children?
While they were doing the deed, a dillo got jealous and interrupted them. Look man, I get where you're coming from, okay? But crossbreeding is illegal in Ark, you know? So, with that being said, I will now be stripping you of your privileges to breathe oxygen. Okay, now that the dillo is gone, we finally get some eggs that we can use for ritual slaughtering and acquire ourselves a fire Gigantoraptor. And don't worry, it's totally okay to sacrifice little children because they aren't born yet. Despite us sacrificing them to this big bird that'll tear their organs out, it's totally fine because they can't feel it. So, we can rest assured knowing we didn't do anything wrong. With that in mind, I placed the fertilized dodo egg on the ground, which immediately grabbed the mama's attention.
Come here, Ma!
With her preoccupied on gobbling up the egg, I snuck into the nest. Now, all that's left to do is play with the baby until we tame it. At least that's what I thought. As it turned out, the egg we sacrificed only bought us about 15 seconds of time, which, as you might have guessed, 15 seconds isn't nearly enough to please a woman.
Bro!
And there's actually no way I'm waiting for those little sacks of feathers to lay 20 more eggs so I can tame this thing. I've only got one trick left up my sleeve at this point, which was trapping the mother. So, that operation started with me knocking her out, which was rather easy with the torpor spell we got. And the rest of day 18 and half of day 19 were spent building the trap around the sleeping Gigantoraptor, which consisted of me just putting foundations around its sleeping body and walling it in, then waiting for it to wake up.
This is the concoction, okay? So hopefully it traps the mama in and then we can just tame the child without the mama interrupting. Hopefully that is the plan. Hopefully it works.
However, after it awoke, I couldn't tame it. Unbeknownst to me at the time, you weren't allowed to trap the mother. Okay, so wait, let me just get this straight. I effectively wasted an entire real-life hour of my life trying to tame this Gigantoraptor, only to miserably fail, embarrass myself in front of the internet, and mentally break down. We cannot afford to do the last thing in the wild though, it's way too dangerous. So, let's head back to base and cry ourselves to sleep there. Returning back to the base on day 20, I realized that I had no roof which I could wallow under, nor a bed to cry myself to sleep in. This was a big problem. I mean, how can I self-deprecate in peace if I have actual stuff to worry about? Like getting eaten by a wild carno, for example. This meant that it was about goddamn time to start making a base. For real this time. No 70 foundation slop with high walls. No. We are building a home. So, without further ado, sit back, relax, give your genitals a good scratch, and enjoy this super duper ultra epic insane building montage.
Connection terminated.
Ugh, that was a tiresome montage to edit. let's take a short break by flying around for a bit. The beautiful sights of Tharat are bound to replenish our tired eyes. However, we've gotten extremely lucky today by finding a max level PT.
150! Yeah!
Come on, Vex. Just like shooting a shot at a girl. You've got this.
Are you sure?
Actually, no, scratch that, okay? Try doing it like that and you'll end up crushing the poor bird with an asteroid. Okay, we've knocked it out for the 4th time. We can't allow ourselves to screw this up again, okay? And, as expected, calamity struck as a gang of Dinotheriums approached, ready to challenge our desire to fly. Luckily, our determination was too overwhelming for them, and we've ended up victorious. Despite slaughtering the horde though, I was still feeling uneasy. And for a good reason. We've already failed at taming a flyer multiple times in a row by now. And the fact that I've been seeing shit like this pyromane ionizing whatever that was far off in the distance...
I'm about to blow.
wasn't helping at all.
Yo, my guy, you need to tame the fuck up. You need to tame, okay?
Thankfully, we were protected by a holy circle drawn by Jesus Christ himself.
Yes. Oh, level 224. Get me the fuck out of here.
Finally laying our hands onto a flyer. Now that our dopamine receptors are fully replenished, we shall return to the construction grounds and keep on building, which continued on throughout the next 2 days. At this point, my brain was genuinely fried. Like, yes, having a cool house is fun and all of that, but this stuff takes planning, dude. Plus, I'm freeballing it. I have no clue what I'm doing. So, for the sake of my mental health, I needed to take a break. And what better way to do so than taming cats? Oh yeah, baby! They added cats to Ark Survival Ascended! Now the game is finally worth 40 extra euros to spend on. On a real note, we do need some employees to work in our small tavern. And I'd even dare to say that cats are more fit for the job than humans are. So, let's get to taming some of them. However, not all cats are so friendly, as there's 3 types of them in the game. The ones with green icons are cute babies and deserve everything in the world. Aww. The ones with yellow icons are feisty and will usually either run away or start throwing hands.
Hey!
Fetch me their soul!
And the ones with red icons are Satan's minions. No joke. These little devils do not, under any circumstances, want to interact with you. And if you even dare to commit the cardinal sin of trying to approach one, it will skin you alive. Fortunately for us, there were 4 cats. And 3 of them had green icons over their heads. So, we've got a good lineup of workers ready to take care of the bar.
Oh, I got a cat! Get away from my child, you spiritless scum! Oh, I got another! Oh my god, it's so cute! Aww. Kitty, for fuck's sake! How long are we gonna do this, Kitty? Are you done? Are you done? Tell me, are you done? Well, we got 3 cats. The last one was orange, so we couldn't get that one.
Although, we can't have workers in the bar without said bar being finished. So, after tidying up the first floor, there was only one thing left to do. Which was to light the place up, because right now, you can't see jack shit in it. And what better way to do this than by placing some wall torches along the walls of the base? Although, to do so, we need cementing paste. And for that, we need some chitin, which we had none at the moment. Thankfully, we easily got it by ridding the forest of its insect population. With the required materials now acquired, we combined them to make a bunch of wall torches, and then placed them around the base where it seemed fit. Now, all that's left to do is fill them up with fuel, which was easier said than done. For them to last until day 100, each torch needed around 3 stacks of wood. So, we better get to deforestation. After all, the trees aren't gonna cut themselves, are they? And oh boy, they weren't. As we've spent the entire day 27 and 28 cutting trees. On day 28, I chopped trees, committing mass amounts of deforestation and majorly angering the Lorax. I could feel the wise mystical tree getting angry at me. As that night, when I went to sleep, I could feel the Lorax watching me through the window with a Saiga 12 automatic shotgun.
Hey there. Is that the fucking Lorax?
Kinda disappointed that he didn't end my suffering right there though. Would have been way easier than doing it myself. Now, the trees weren't the only thing getting massacred by a fire axe. My sanity was included too, as I've forgotten to name my cats. So, allow me to introduce you to the team. We've got Mittens the Tavern Keep, who keeps an eye out for uninvited guests and does the dirty work. Then, we've got Oreo the Bartender, responsible for fixing you up the finest pint of cat milk that's 75% protein. And finally, meet the cat, the myth, the legend himself, Biscuit the Grill Master. God, this one is so pretty. Look at, aw, it's smiling at me. Aw. You're also pretty. You're included too. Yes, you are. What kind of saloon would this be if I didn't have a grill master? I mean, come on. While we're talking about masters, God, I feel like one with how this build is turning out. I mean, just look at this base. Looks absolutely stunning with the storage bins and the other decor I've put in. But each master builder needs a break now and then. So, what better way to do so than by slaughtering wildlife with my Rex? Yet another refreshing bloodbath. Oh yeah, my head hurts less now. What do you mean? Why does your head hurt? Bro, building a base that doesn't look like a Polish field toilet isn't easy, you know? Especially when Okay, so my mom got me McDonald's when I was writing this, and I got sidetracked for 4 hours and forgot what the joke was. And damn, I just realized that this is the second time I'm mentioning eating fast food in this video. I promise I'm not fat, okay? I pinky promise. But, you know what? I bet you all. Get me to 100,000 subs by the end of this year and I'll do a physique reveal. And on the topic of celebrations, once I hit 1,000 subs, I'll do a 24-hour stream. So, make sure to stay for that. My god, I'm getting sidetracked again. One thing I've been thinking about is the Argent Davis saddle I wanted, which I realized I've unlocked like years ago at this point. Not too sure why I didn't make it, but oh well. We've all come to the conclusion that my attention span is actually 0 anyway, so who cares? Besides, it's not like you're here for the gameplay. You're here for me! This script is actually disgusting. Yeah, anyway, I made a saddle so I can carry my Doedicurus around the map and farm rocks. Cause the village tier structures required both stone and wood to make. Let me tell you, I didn't just farm stone. I excavated enough rocks to build myself an entire castle. With more resources acquired, we lined out the wall placement on the second floor and then walled it off. And finally, throughout days 31 and 33, we finished up the construction of the base. Now, roll a cinematic montage of the base for a sick dopamine boost. My oh my. That sure was epic. We can now finally take a break from this insane building compilation and go do some fun recreational activities. Or not, since I realized I didn't have an Anki. Looking back at it now, I genuinely don't have a clue as to why I was searching for one, since I am not allowed to use any equipment over the smithy tier. But oh well, that's at least one way to spend time in this game, aimlessly searching for dinos. Unfortunately, Ark had other plans.
Bro, what the hell is this place? There's way too much stuff here, like way too much, way too many birds, dude, holy!
Said plans being nuking my PC with a thermonuclear bomb and making it crash.
I'm gonna crash if I stay here. There's actually no way I just crashed, right?
This genuinely pissed me off. So, I quit searching for an Anki. Who needs that spiky motherfucker anyways? Instead, I made my way over to the Wyvern Trench and searched for some Wyvern eggs. Arriving there on day 34, I started searching for them. And oh my goodness! There were so many eggs in here. This Wyvern Trench was massive. Thanks to the size of it, we managed to permanently borrow a poison and lightning wyvern egg. Now we can engage in mass amounts of chemical warfare by gassing every organic life form on this island. And we'll be doing so by using the secret recipe that has been passed down my family throughout multiple generations. What is the secret recipe, you might ask? It is called Cheeto gas. And if you're wondering how deadly it is more toxic than your dad's farts. More on that later, as we've got a very pretty sight to look at here. I mean, look at this stunning view we got while going back home. How could someone possibly not like this game?
Later that same evening.
Hey! Idiot! I was telling you to follow me! While we're on the topic of sights, there was quite a peculiar one on the northern side of the map. Namely, there were pyramids in the fucking snow. Bro, this is the equivalent of going skiing in Bosnia during the winter and stumbling upon an ancient sarcophagus. Okay, yeah, I'm just going to stop asking questions that are supposed to make sense. But hey, the place was indeed magical, as we've finally found an ankylosaurus that we can tame. I knocked it out rather efficiently and left it to starve. Meanwhile, I continued my exploration conquest throughout the snowy hills and found a random terminal just sitting in the middle of nowhere. You know me, I had to go check it out. And my oh my, look at all of these dinos that we can summon. From what I understand, the dark ones are teams that we can spawn in and use, while the Warframe Spino, Dark Golem, and Meganog were mini-bosses. And the last three on the bottom, Nucus, Urius, and the Hydric Ultra, were the main bosses. We'll be tasked with slaying all of these major foes in order to liberate these lands from their tyrannic reign. However, that can fucking wait, since the tribute requirements are ungodly expensive. I mean, look at this! This dude literally wants 5 fucking fertilized fire wyvern eggs as tributes! My voice is dying! What do you think I am, my guy? The host of a draconic muscle dragon girl harem? Hopefully I become that in the future. However, now, we're as lonely as that unconscious Sankey I knocked out a couple of minutes ago. So, let's go check back on the poor thing and claim it as ours. Which went pretty smoothly. And, on top of that, I spotted a level 135 mammoth right next to it. So, why not tame it? I mean, there's really no reason to pass up on a high-level dino, especially when it's right in front of us. Knocking it out was easy as always, thanks to the druid being able to conjure Torpor Blast with relative ease. All that's left to do is to just get us some food, which was easily done using the Dreadnoughtus to collect berries, and to feed the mammoth with the... Oh. It's getting piped in its sleep by a direwolf. I wish those damn scientists didn't bring you back. Oh well, this thing has too much torpor to wait for it to wake up. So, I'll just wall it in with spiked walls and let it starve. Surely I won't forget about its entire existence for the rest of this run. I mean, when has that happened before, right guys? Anyhow, day 35 was dedicated to farming metal with the new Anki. And as you can guess by the tone of my voice, despite me being tired from screaming, it was pretty uneventful. As it was just fly to the rock, hit rock with Anki, pick Anki up, repeat until failure. For 20 whole minutes. Oh well, at least you can skip over to the next day, which was a tad bit more fun. And it was mainly filled with exploring the areas of the map we didn't get to see earlier. One thing I was constantly in the search of was a cave runner. However, we couldn't find a single one, sadly. What we did find, though, is gold.
Ice on the open seas.
This is one of the 3 map exclusive resources we can find here, and we'll need it to fight the upcoming major foes. So, it's good to know we already found one of them. And if you're wondering, the other 2 resources are Diamond Nuggets and Dark Crystal. We are yet to find those, although we did find an excavation site with an entire industrial grade crane next to it. If only there are 10 more around, we will be able to lift your mom 5 meters off the ground. Oops, sorry, that was uncalled for. Another uncalled for thing was the fact that I could not find a single dino worth absorbing for cave runs. And if you're wondering why I so desperately needed a cave runner, well, I don't know, okay? It was just a natural train of thought. Because there were an insane 17 caves on this map. So, I'd figured that getting something like a Thylacoleo, for example, could be beneficial. Guess the gods thought otherwise. As, on the morning of day 37, just as I was going back towards the base, I spotted a level 95 Dune Karcha.
Oh. Hey, it's level 95. Nice. Okay. Commence strategy. Knock out the Karcha.
Yet another map exclusive dino variant. Now, in my humble opinion, Karchas are better than Gigas. But wait, don't call me a slur just yet. Gigas are also very cool. But since I've got this organic war machine in front of me, it is my God-given right to steal its form and wreak genocide across these lands. Which was actually easier done than said. Yeah, I'm dead serious. I just flew up this rock and spammed the Karcha with my torpor spell. It did have a fairly hefty torpor bar, I'll admit that. However, no match for our current capabilities. Once it fell asleep, I started the absorption process, which lasted from the dawn of day 37 all the way until the early hours of day 38. However, it was entirely worth it, as now we've got a team strong enough to let us solo OSDs, farm meat, hide and such, and even fight some of the mini-bosses. Testing it out proved my point further, as not only was it doing very good damage, but also he had a whopping 70,000 HP. I finally feel safe walking through the map now, as if someone dares to jump me, I can just shift into the equivalent of the attack titan and bash their skulls in. Skulls aren't the only thing that will get bashed in though, as these gold doors are about to suffer the same fate throughout the following 2 days. Yeah, not exactly the most fun content to watch, but hey, that's what Ark is all about, isn't it? Not being fun at all. Day 40 was a little more fun, as it started off with stealing a bunch of Wyvern eggs. Who doesn't like stealing, am I right? Remember now, we need these to summon the Warframe Spino, which we'll be battling on day 50. After I got the eggs, I left them back at the base and then departed towards the dark crystal cave. Upon entering it, I found remains of what seemed to be like a human being, with a message written next to its corpse. I still remember you from the first day. You gave me love and peace when I met you, year after year. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Moving on. Cleansing the cave of its insect tenants that housed it, I found the dark crystal ore. Going up to it to harvest it though, I came to the realization that it is extremely radioactive. Taking into account that I, as a druid, don't have access to a full-blown hazmat suit, there was no way we could finish the 100 days playthrough. So, guess that'll be it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye! What? You seriously think I'll let something as minuscule as radiation poisoning stop me from making this banger video? Please! What do you take me for? And besides, I'm already infected with 215 becquerels of radiation, so this is nothing. Who needs a radiation suit when you can just out-heal the damage? Light work, no reaction. With the ultimate dark crystal excavating strategy now in motion, we spent the night of day 40 and the morning of day 41 harvesting the ores. After all the time spent inside the cave, it was only now that I realized that there is an entire new section in it. Exploring the new area, we liberated it of the bugs it housed, and acquired ourselves the Artifact of the Void.
Artifact of the Void. Okay, oh, huge. That's for the Ice Titan.
This artifact will play a crucial part in granting us the strongest creature we can possibly get.
Who's that Pokemon?
However, more on that later. For now, we finished mining the crystal, and getting it out was extremely tedious and annoying, as the process required was getting the RG to the door, taking out the crystal and throwing it through the door multiple times, then cryoing the RG, moving into the next opening, releasing the RG, filling it up with crystal, and then moving to the next door. Jesus Christ, I got tired just saying that process out loud, but yeah, you get the point. And the fact that the game was rage baiting me wasn't helping at all.
I'm thirsty, I'm hungry, I have AIDS, I'm poisoned by radiation. Yeah, everything's gone to shit. Can fucking bugs stop coming on me, dude? This fucking pigeon is too fat to go through anything! Obese status, dude. What the actual fuck is going on? Hello? Why am I invisible? And now, I have to spend the rest of the day slowly flying to the base.
Okay. Thank God we got out of that accursed place. Getting the crystal wasn't hard on its own, but trying not to bite off my fingers and pick my nose with them certainly was. Arriving back home, you'd think that I would be granted a tiny sliver of peace, which, surprisingly, was the case. Did you really fall for that? Remember who you're watching. Peace doesn't exist on my channel.
Why is this game rage baiting me? Why? Look! I'm trying to jump into the house and the door is closing on me!
Yeah, after that I just got off for the night. My nerves were already on the brink of snapping. Loading back in tomorrow after a good night's rest, I was ready to partake in some tomfoolery. So, like the usual, I set my sights on painting the entire Wyvern trench crimson red. Not only for the sake of farming talons, because we'll need an ungodly amount of them, but also stealing some eggs. A good Wyvern egg would be pretty favorable, as it would allow us to do the—
Oh! 185 lighting Wyvern, hell yeah!
Well, wow. it would seem that the gods have heard our cry for a powerful flyer, either by listening to our prayers, or listening through the walls. David, open the door, David. David, open the door, David, fast.
I wanna wear your skin.
I'm fine with both cases, honestly, as I do get a little scared of being alone at night. It's refreshing to know that someone's there. Whether it's the Lorax aiming at me with an incendiary ammo shotgun, or a shadowy figure licking my toes. Though licking aside, I picked up the egg, and, as a precaution, knocked out a female wyvern and stole her milk for future use.
Delicious wyvern milk.
Look, from what I've heard, it's gotta be filled with so much protein. I mean, if you can turn a small baby lizard into this flying monstrosity just by feeding it milk, then I might as well try it too. Who knows? Maybe drinking this milk will finally cure me of my fear of women. Okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves now. It's just milk, not a fucking infinity stone. Returning back to the base, I stored the goods, and then started preparing the hatching area for the soon-to-be-born child. Don't you worry your sweet little Bippy. What does Bippy mean? Hold on. Bippy meaning a person's buttocks. Oh my god. Yeah, let's just move on. The child was very demanding, and I mean very. I had to make like 30 or so torches just to get the exact right temperature that this little fucker likes, and then also get enough fuel to light them. If having a child in real life is this demanding, I might as well die alone. After dropping the egg into the crescent circle of eternal flame and inferno, I waited for it to hatch, which it did fairly quickly actually. Turns out making the circle of flames that's hotter than hell itself was actually worth it. Who would have thought? After it hatched, I spent the rest of day 43 and the morning of day 44 waiting for it to grow up. They grow up so fast when the nutritious value of the milk they drink is higher than that of uranium. Taking it out for a spin back to the land where it was born was very productive, as I found yet another level 185 egg.
Well, what you looking at? Another 185.
Which I of course stole.
Well, I mean, I'll take it. Why not?
And don't give me any of that bullshit for stealing eggs. Okay? It's not like they're gonna, I don't know, hatch here in the wild, so who cares? After abducting the egg, I thought about the necessary attributes for the Warframe Spino. And let me tell you, despite the all-information gathering technology we have nowadays, I managed to forget them. So, paying a quick visit to the terminal was in order. Don't worry, as this time I didn't forget to take a screenshot of the required tributes.
Technologia!
We are druids, okay? But we aren't complete cavemen either. One of the tributes we needed were the Thylacoleo claws, which we gathered along the way back to the base. However, while on our way there, I found quite a peculiar cave. And going through it, I realized it was meant for fighting the underwater mini-boss.
Okay. Yeah, so this is a boss arena.
That's a very large relief. It means that I won't have to go into the stinky ocean in the search of the cave at all. Honestly, I am so over taking showers after spending 100 days in Atlantis. Psst, but you should also totally check out, because it's a very sick video. Going out of it, I remembered I spotted a Giga inside. And we'll need a good chunk of Giga hearts, as most of the bosses require them as tributes. So, we spent the rest of the day slaying the Giga, and then exited the cave. Now, during the early hours of day 46, I stumbled upon a Thylacoleo, swiftly knocking it out, then going to get some food to tame it. And wait, I know what you're about to ask. Vex, why the hell are you taming it when you can just absorb it? And to that very well formulated and structured question, I shall not respond. Don't worry, as I soon realized that I was actually stupid and could steal its form.
Wait, why the fuck am I trying to tame it? I just need to absorb it.
If you're wondering why I'd need a Tyla, well, the answer is actually pretty simple.
The bleeding.
My thought process is, if I can knock out a Giga, then I can just bleed its HP and kill it without spending half of the entire day spamming left click. And would you look at that?
Oh. Yay, cool. We found the next victim.
It's as if the gods themselves wanted to witness my newfound power before their very own eyes. As I found a Giga just minding its own business. It was about time to test out the new strategy. And ho boy! The Giga stood no chance. We were also kinda close to the Wyvern trench, so we started heading there to get the last few eggs we needed. Arriving there at the start of day 47, we got the last few fertilized fire Wyvern eggs we needed.
Give me this. What level? 80, you will do fine. Give me this.
Now, all that's left to do is gather the missing necessary tributes we need to summon the Warframe Spino. Which, I'll spare you the details of how I got him, since I really don't feel like searching through an hour of footage to find a few specific kills. Ah yes, my favorite activity in Ark. Floating in the fucking air. And let's be honest, you're probably tired of hearing the same old. During day 48, I committed massive genocide and farmed Terrazino claws. So then, allow me to just swiftly move to day 50.
3 days later.
Okay, there we are. Now, it's time to face the first of the 6 major foes. The Warframe Spino. Engulfed in a fiery inferno and flames of hatred. This battle wasn't going to be easy. Slotting the tributes into the terminal, I placed my hand onto the dial and summoned the Warframe Spino.
Why can't I craft it? Hello? 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 Somalia? Hello? Kazakhstan? Hello?
A few minutes later.
And summoned the Warframe Spino.
Okay, well, that boss was fucking weak.
Okay, now that the Warframe Spino has been defeated, it has unleashed the ancient powers stored within it, and has signaled the 3 tyrants of this map that we have challenged them. From now on, each 10 days, we must face a new major foe, each getting stronger than the one before. So, we'll have to start gearing up for the next batch immediately, which we commenced by doing an orbital supply drop. Now, you're probably thinking, Vex, why would you do an OSD? You can't use any of the loot they drop even if you complete them. And to that, you would be absolutely correct. Good job. However, I am not doing this for the loot. Instead, for corrupted hearts. Why, you might ask? Well, let me remind you that the Ice Titan is accessible on this map. You're smart enough to see where I'm going with this. Just 100 corrupted hearts stand between us and godhood. So that's why we're doing these drops. And let me tell you, despite us having a Dune Karcha, they weren't easy in the slightest. As stuff like Wyverns, Spinos, and Rexes spawned relentlessly, it took us the entire day 51 to beat this drop. In return, we only got 20 hearts. Yeah, see what I mean? This wasn't going to be easy at all. I also found an element vein on the other side of the map. which I spent the entirety of day 52 trying to complete. My thought process here was to do this one too, cause they can spawn the high-end creatures that drop cards as well. Unfortunately, this happened to be an easy win. So sadly, there were no strong dinos. But hey, at least we got a decent bit of element. This might prove to be useful later on. Until then, we'll move on into the next day, where we find ourselves in a rock drake trench. I mean, it wasn't really a trench. More like a big rock drake area thingy. Yeah, you know what? Let's just stick to trench. Going inside, I wanted to steal a rock drake egg, cause having one of these things would be pretty sick. But there was an insane amount of radiation in here. That wasn't the main problem though, since I could just out-heal the damage taken. The issue we were facing is that I couldn't fucking see! There was so much radiation in here that it made me start hallucinating a loving girlfriend bringing me dino nuggets for breakfast. Damn. Who knew radiation could cause such ridiculous scenarios to play out in your head? Oh well, even though the Geiger counter in my hand is going ballistic, even I am aware of how stupid and silly that last statement was. You can't fool me, you vile gods! My sanity might have fully deteriorated, but your spells of illusion won't work on the likes of me. Let's get out of here. This place is lame as hell. Besides, who needs a rock drake? What we need right now is amusement. And what a better way to get said amusement than by playing Squid Game in Ark Survival Ascended? How, you might ask? Well, this cave we found was the equivalent of Squid Game. Look, it's the iconic glass panels scene thingy. Unfortunately for the map dev, I can just transform into a pteranodon and fly over the glass panes. Ha! Bet you didn't think of that, huh? Don't worry, as we didn't cheat our way to any loot at all, because there was literally no loot at the end of the cave. But hey, at least it was fun, right? Are you guys having fun actually? Is this fun? Am I fun to watch? Is this video entertaining? Am I entertaining? Am I having fun? Am I making you guys laugh? Huh? Hey, at least we found another sick looking cave. This one had a bunch of beehives in it, so the loot was bound to be sweet. And sweet it was, as we laid our hands onto the artifact of the Skylord. For the next few days, we'll mostly be going caving, as I want to get as many artifacts as I can. And I had a pretty fun time doing so, in all honesty. Just take a look at this beautiful cave we stumbled upon. Wow, this is amazing. Look at all of these dead bosses. Hell, even the King Titan's head is mounted at the end of the bridge. Something must have killed these bosses and taken their heads as trophies. Whatever that thing is, I don't want to stay here for longer than I need to. I feel as if someone's watching me. Let's get out of here. Well, that was scary, but we all know that with scary activities, especially with cave diving, when you undergo a terrifying near-death experience like I just did, you do it again. The next cave we'll be paying a visit to is one I've dubbed the Red Cave. Because it's red, duh. Inside wasn't anything of high use other than a handful of high-tier cave drops, which did house some pretty good loot that we, of course, couldn't use. It didn't even have an artifact in it, so this was kinda a waste of time if you ask me. Oh, and would you look at that? Yet another cave! Okay, this is getting kinda boring now. Especially for someone like me who genuinely doesn't like caving. Like, why would you put yourself in that situation? The cave we found was the equivalent of the island's hard ice cave, riddled with dire wolves, dire bears, dire this and dire that. It was no fun. But hey, at least it housed the artifact of the strong at the end. of the strong. That's the artifact of the deviants. You don't know anything about Ark, you fucking troglodyte. Dislike! So, it wasn't entirely pointless coming here. Okay. We are done with caving for now, I promise. Let's take the usual course of action after doing something boring. That, of course, being Dino Slaughter, which lasted until the early morning hours of day 56. We ran rampant across the area near our base, not only to liberate it of the excessive wildlife housing it, but to also lower the dino count, therefore saving my PC from constant frame drops. Yeah, this map was really keen on tying my balls into a 4-dimensional shape and then letting me hang from them upside down. Very painful, but certainly unique experience. Another unique experience was that, by God's grace, we found a level 150 Paradise Griffin.
150, okay. Okay, something else to do rather than just farm tributes.
Oh my goodness. Such a majestic beast. I need to tame it. I need it. This thing had a pretty hefty torpor count. It wasn't going to be easy knocking it out, especially since it could fly away and lose us fairly quickly. But, unbeknownst to it, it wasn't getting hunted by some basic Ark beach bob. No. It was being hunted by an elder druid. Its dreams of maintaining its freedom were soon shot into the ground the same way it became grounded after I knocked it out. As it fell though, a wild Carno saw the opportunity and tried taking a bite out of its wing, which angered me a lot.
I will fucking kill.
Phew. Thankfully, it missed due to its Stormtrooper level aim. Dear God, I would have actually slammed a nail under my toe if that happened. We gave it some food, and then waited until the start of day 57 for it to tame up, which, after it did, made me extremely happy.
Yes! Oh, I'm gonna come!
Okay, perhaps I got a little too happy. Let's not make those types of jokes. Instead, try to enjoy being able to fly on such a magnificent beast. Wanting to have some fun with it, I flew around the map while doing dive-by clawings at the local wildlife. And allow me to tell you that this thing was so enjoyable to use. I can't wait for them to actually be implemented in the game. Another cool modded dino I found was the Minotaur. Although, I am not entirely sure if you can categorize this thing as a dino. But oh well. I am too lazy to look up a professional term for a Minotaur. This dude was built like your average pocket-sized friend after taking 6 vials of anabolic steroids and doing 10 push-ups. He was so buff and strong that just a single punch sent me flying tens of meters away from him. Who wouldn't want to tame a creature as powerful as this? I know that I certainly would. But this raptor didn't like that idea. So, it decided to try mauling it to death, effectively ruining the tame. I guess I'm just not allowed to have nice things in this game. What else is new? And as a cherry on top, Ark decided to turn what started as a jubilant day into an anti-jubilant day by calling a single gas bag, quote-unquote, gas bags, with an S. What? How can a single gas bag be referred to as multiple individuals at once? And to make it even worse, the game just started crashing out of nowhere.
Ah, I love when my game crashes.
This was driving me crazy, but for the sake of spoon-feeding my Cheeto-frenetic gang some peak content, I promised to prevail. In an attempt to make the following day better, we should do a ritual and sacrifice any living being to the gods as a prayer for a better tomorrow. I thought about going for a Giga, but had no luck finding one. Instead, one of my sleep paralysis demons started whispering into my ear.
Hey, pretty boy, you should find a big tree and build a shrine there so you can sacrifice your loved ones to the forest.
Why in the hell would I do that?
Silly. For content.
You know what? You have a point, paralysis demon woman.
Good boy.
My schizophrenia has evolved to such an advanced stage that I have now started personifying myself as a dominatrix persona of my Cheeto tiger in a purple suit telling me I am a good boy in a female voice. Please, I am begging you, subscribe to the channel so that I can afford to seek some much needed professional fucking help! Well, with the instructions of the higher member of the Cheeto-Friendly Council now received, let's go do what she said and build a random shrine to sacrifice my loved ones. Yeah, that sounds like a perfectly safe and totally appropriate activity to partake in. Returning home, I made the necessary structures required for the shrine construction and departed towards the spirit tree. Arriving at the tree on day 59, I smacked down the shrine. As I did, the wind blew stronger with each pillar I placed. It was almost as if the wind was trying to touch my butt. This is too freaky for me. You know, one who cleans his house expects visitors. But the request of the council must be satiated. Okay, there we go. Shrine is done. Now what? Do I chant something? Slap the ground? Behead a dodo in cold blood? Leave some smut dojins in the box?
You dare awaken me with this dollar store altar?
Oh my god, the tree talks?
You built a shrine on sacred soil, boy. You've stirred the Pact of Offering. The cogs of the Pact of Offering have begun to turn once again.
I stirred the what of what and what cogs are turning? What are you saying?
Oh my god, this guy's stupid. It means you've agreed to trade life for power. Sacrifice me your companions, and I will show you the path of the druid.
Okay. Wow. So we're just skipping right past hello and straight into ritual sacrificing. Got it. How do I know that you aren't some Ponzi scheme orchestrator though?
Would a Ponzi scheme orchestrator like goth girls?
You know what? Fair point, Mr. Tree. Can't argue with impeccable taste, even if you are a clump of talking roots and branches.
Bring me 2 offerings, and I will give you the tributes and the location of your next major foe.
Alright, wise mystical tree. I'll be back in a few. Well, that was something. Look, okay? I'll take any opportunity I can to avert having to farm tributes. So, let's trust this random tree and sacrifice our beloved comrades to it. Here you go, my brambly friend. A fresh Shanky and Beaver. Now, how about them tributes?
Silly boy! Didn't your mom teach you not to trust talking trees?
Okay. Jeez, loosen up. Here you go. Good boy. Now, where's the next boss? Who are you calling a good boy? Never mind. The next boss is the Dark Golem. You can find him in the Cave of Dark Crystals. Defeat him, and you will be granted audience with me again for your next task. Now go and do my bidding. Well, alrighty then. With our next quest successfully acquired, let's go and beat the snot out of that Dark Golem. Arriving at the cave on day 60, I went in, and there weren't any dinos inside to try and oppose me. They knew that I was here to throw hands, and they didn't want any smoke. Walking up to the terminal, I placed my hand upon it, and summoned the Dark Golem. That was extremely underwhelming. I guess we were supposed to fight this one first? But oh well, who cares? We beat him and that's all that matters. Exiting the cave, I heard an OSD drop in the far distance. So, I went to it and spent the rest of day 60 beating it. The following day started off with me aimlessly flying around. That also happens whenever my friends and I meet up once in every blue moon. Instead of doing anything productive, we just kinda wander around like Oblivion NPCs until midnight, stumbling upon goth girls, crackheads, and police. One thing we don't stumble upon are fucking alpha dragons. Contrary to popular belief, third world countries in fact do not house mythical creatures. And they also have Wi-Fi. Yeah, who would have thought? Killing this alpha dragon was a piece of cake. And as a trophy, I pulled one of its teeth out. Now we can finally use this extremely large foreign object as a DIY dildo. That can wait though, because standing right in front of us was a level 135 Minotaur. I really wanted to tame this guy because it seemed like such a fun tame to have. Thankfully, he was in an isolated area, so knocking it out was fairly easy. After it fell asleep, I walled it in as a means of precaution and waited for it to tame up, which it did after a short nap. He's just like me, for real. A burger and a nice nap in your lap is all it takes to earn my eternal loyalty. Testing out its moves, a certain one really piqued my interest. Chimpanzini, bananini. It was able to pick big boulders off the ground and thundercunt them at any unsuspecting bypasser like an Olympic stone chucker. This meant that I could now flawlessly execute those pesky little birds that take their tough shit for being able to fly. Chucking rocks at birds was very fun, but sadly came to a halt when we ran out of birds. Now, for some odd reason, I had the masculine urge to try swimming with this thing. My logic, it had the physique of a Greek god, so he was clearly an Olympic swimmer as well. And if I were to call him a good swimmer, it would be an understatement, as we found the Ark's equivalent of Michael Phelps. This dude was faster than actual water dinos. He'll definitely prove to be useful later on. Another potentially useful thing is an OSD that I heard drop off in the far distance. Going up to it to check it out though, it was only a blue one, making it useless as it wouldn't spawn any high-level dinos. But while we're on the topic of blue items, we found something we crucially needed. No, not blue crystal meth. Instead, diamonds.
We're rich! Diamond!
That's the last custom material we need. And, conveniently enough, is the ore we need for the last upcoming mini-boss. Let's go back to base and get an RG so we can transport this loot. After getting it and returning to the excavation site, I realized that I forgot my Yankee. So, I returned to my base again to pick it up. However, upon returning to the base, I realized that I sacrificed the spiky fella a couple days ago. Yeah, my brain is genuinely fried. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Going back to the excavation site for the 20th time now, I filled my pockets with as many diamonds as I could fit in them, flexed my calves, which were in immaculate form by the way, and then departed to the spirit tree to obtain the next quest. Hey, that dark golem guy was weak as fuck. You're wasting my time with these common folk.
Hold it right there, Buster. Weak he was indeed. But the next one will be your fiercest challenge yet.
Sure. What? Are you maybe going to make me fight something ridiculous like, I don't know, a galaxy megalodon that can spawn infinite alpha Tusos as bodyguards?
Well, maybe.
You gotta be fucking kidding me. Okay, what do you want as tributes for that thing?
Hey, you said it, not me. Anyhow, your next foe is the Black Mega Noct, an abyssal war demon that rules the murky depths. Bring me 3 sacrifices from his domain, and you shall be granted the tributes needed.
Black, Mega Noct, Abyssal War Demon, Domain... Can you fucking speak English?
Oh, right, you are mentally brain-dead. Sorry, my apologies. Big Shark, give me 3 water dino, fast.
Got it, boss. I'm on it. I can't lie, guys. This whole spirit tree thing is genuinely starting to annoy me. But for the sake of not having to search for 58 Terrazinos and declawing them, we'll obey the tree. For now, at least. Going to the ocean, I searched for any water-exclusive dinos I could find. Since the buddy fucker didn't specify that the creatures had to be exceptionally rare, we'll just get whatever we find. The first one will be the Zapatinus fish, which we tamed by doing the usual procedure. Knock it out, get prime meat, throw a couple of rocks at this fat Dinotherium, and feed the fish. It tamed up on day 63. Nice. Only 2 left to go. Close to it was a Megalodon, so, like, I tamed that too. Yeah, nothing of major significance, honestly. And for the third one, the plan was to just fly above the water and spot whatever's easy to tame. Although, while I was doing so, a colossal spring sprung out of the water and tried inappropriately touching me with its tentacles. In self-defense, I shapeshifted into my Karcha like a doppelganger shapeshifting into a 6'4" muscle mommy and broke its spinal cord. Actually, that doesn't make sense since squids don't have spinal cords. Anyway, as punishment for its sins, I cut off the very same tentacles that tried caressing my voluptuous ass cheeks. Upon seeing my heroicism, this random Michty swam up to me and offered to be the third and last sacrifice.
Hello, Vex. Please shove a 12-inch blade into my stomach and fillet me like a sturgeon.
What the actual fuck is wrong with you, my guy? Okay, whatever. You know what? We got the last tribute, okay? Now, let's go back to that cursed tree and get the next tributes for the fight. I'm so fucking over this, dude. We'll just leave the tributes in the offering box and come back later. Until then, we returned back home to run some errands, which would be farming meat, since we were out of food. After doing so, I realized there was but a single thing we were missing in our bar. Said thing being a beer barrel. Such sin could not be tolerated. So, getting beer was now on the top of our priority list. I mean, who cares about slaying a macro-nebulous shark on steroids when we can make copious amounts of alcohol instead? Thankfully, there were several decaying skeletons scattered across the wilds. So, harvesting them was the easiest way of farming up keratin for the paste. And can we all take a collective moment to talk about just how cool this mechanic is? Like, it's so cool! Anyhow, after collecting the keratin, I returned back home, made the rest of the cementing paste, and crafted myself a beer barrel. Now, on the topic of liquid containers, I have just noticed that, despite us making it to day 64, we still haven't made a single water skin. Yup. That's right. Despite us possessing literal war demons that can incinerate small medieval settlements, I've been drinking water out of ponds for the entirety of this run like a fat, dirty pig. When are my voice cracks going to stop, dude? Which meant it was about time to get just a tiny bit more civilized. We did so by equipping our sweaty hands with the water jar. Oh yeah, baby. We are now officially a high-class citizen of the forest. Who says the druids aren't modern now, huh? Look at this advanced tech. We can drink water on the go. I deserve a Nobel Prize for this invention. Before going to fight the next boss though, we almost forgot to start making beer. There we go. Some stimberries, water, and thatch. I can't wait to get blackout drunk after we win. Returning to the shrine, I tried calling out to the tree.
Hello? Is anyone here?
But nobody responded? Man, I think I don't even exist anymore. Well, that is actually some pretty solid evidence, my dear friend. Rene Descartes? Okay, you cringe scientist. Anyways, back to the shadowy depths where our demons reside. This whole video feels like a fever dream, dude. Holy fuck. Now that we had all the tributes, we could go and fight the boss. We made our way through the cave by ignoring every dino inside and running for our dear life, which of course worked flawlessly. Arriving at the entrance to the arena, I entered the waters and swam to the distant terminal. The arena was a deep blue, illuminated by bioluminescent vegetation and towering translucent pillars. Placing the tributes inside of the altar,
I summoned the Black Mega Noct. Now hold it there, Buster! How are you going to fight an underwater boss? You don't have any underwater themes. Good question, my dear viewer. You are so smart. My answer to that question is, I don't fucking know. The plan used for combating this ferocious beast was one of my smartest ones yet, if I do say so myself. Think about it, okay? Who needs an underwater dino if I can just bring an entire Carcharodontosaurus into the ocean? Combined with our druid powers, even if the Karcha does start drowning and gets low on HP, I can just transform into a new one that's healthy and ready to fight. Although, despite such a fun strategy, the fight itself would prove to be the most boring and time-consuming one yet. As this thing happened to have a whopping 350,000 HP! The battle dragged on into day 65, where I finally killed one of its guardians. To my utter shock and disbelief, the Galaxy Megalodon just summoned a brand new one! This made me realize that killing the guards was entirely useless. We need to go for the big man himself. And doing so made me realize that this battle was just an endurance test at this point. Both of us were trying not to fall victim to tiredness, when, out of the corner of my eye, I spotted something quite peculiar. The Meganoct had a torpor. What? You know what? It was worth a shot. I mean, I had nothing to lose other than my life. With that in mind, I cast a spell and watched it go slowly towards the shark and knock it out.
Oh, that's... Hold on. Are you... Are you serious? Wait, hold on.
What? Okay, wait, so you're telling me that I could have just sent him to La La Land right off the bat? You know what? Just to feed my morbid curiosity, I'm gonna try feeding it some meat. I mean, surely we wouldn't be able to tame this thing, right?
It actually tamed what? Huh? What? Okay, what the actual hell just happened, dude? I guess you weren't as mean as the forest was saying you were. You're just a big silly guy. Aww. Okay, I forgive you. Get in the Pokeball.
Dear Mother of Christ. Okay, well, I'm not sure if that's intended, but if you ask me, I'd say that getting put on a leash is a bigger defeat than getting killed. Although, if it's from your significant other, then it's a max win. But you know what? I'll count this as a win. I don't care. If you've got a problem with it, write a hate comment, fold it twice, and stick it up your ass because we are moving on. After besting the aquatic hellspawn and claiming my soggy prize, I returned back home and let the moment breathe for a bit. Looking across the horizon, a wave of calmness washed over me. I did it. I might actually stand a chance at cleansing this land of evil. Not like that's a question anyway. Of course I can do it. I'm the GOAT. Far off in the distance, I heard an OSD crash. And naturally, I went to investigate. Arriving at it, I spent the rest of day 66 and the morning of the following day farming tributes. This batch was extremely successful, as we've got all of the remaining hearts needed to summon the Ice Titan. Now, after gathering the necessary tributes to summon it, I came to a shocking realization. I should have seen this coming, but in case you're as slow as I am, to tame the Ice Titan, we need a mech. And our humble forest ass cannot even make a water canteen. Much rather a fully functional futuristic mech. However, I have a slight clue as to who could give us a mech. So, let's go pay a visit to the tree. Hey, you foresty fuck! How you doing?
Can you stop calling me a foresty fuck? I have a name, you know.
Well, why didn't you say so? What's your name, my friend?
Greg.
Okay, I see why I didn't say it.
Hey, cut that out!
Okay, sorry, my bad. But hey, can you do me a favor?
I need a mech.
My child, I am a literal tree. How do you expect me to give you a mech?
Okay, so what if I I don't know, give you some tech components and this Minotaur, and then you can fuse them to make me a fully operational mech?
That's a fabulous anime plotline and all, my child. But I am literally bark and leaves, my guy. I cannot do that.
Okay, dude, but remember, I am the narrator of this story, so I dictate your powers. I can even make you have a micro penis.
Okay. Let's not do the second one. But just drop the tech tributes in the box and I'll give you a mech, I guess.
See? It was that easy all along. Good boy. Now, I'll catch you later. I've got an ice kaiju to best. Honestly, guys, the more I talk to this spirit tree thing, or Greg now, the more I feel like I'm talking into a mirror. It's almost as if this entire fiasco with the forest is just my way of avoiding farming the ungodly amount of tributes needed for this map's bosses. With the mech clasped in our hands, we returned back to our saloon and geared up for war. The upcoming battle was about to be our fiercest test of might. Slaying the Ice Kaiju is already a task in its own league, but claiming it as ours surpasses even that. If we want to succeed, we'll need to grab our limits by the throat and crush them along with this Titan's hopes and dreams of freedom. Arriving at the summoning grounds, I inserted the tributes into the altar. Placing my hand upon it, a single word echoed in my mind. Vin. The battle was fierce and lasted the entire day. However, we surpassed our limits and tamed the Ice Kaiju. Now, all that's left is to take its form as ours. Which, mind you, took me 4 entire motherfucking days! Yes, 4 days! 4 days of just holding left click, occasionally broken up by eating some cooked meat and taking a sip of water. Kinda like my voiceover recording sessions. The entertainment value of this segment is roughly equivalent of watching paint dry while being waterboarded with nitroglycerin and getting your nipples violently rubbed with sandpaper and itching powder. But because I'm such an awesome, super duper ultra and amazing YouTuber that cares for his audience, I will spare you the misery I underwent by mostly skipping over that segment. Only if you subscribe though. Come on guys, help me get to 1,000 subs. Finally! Finally! We suffered so much, fought very hard, but it was all worth it in the end. As now, we have finally obtained godhood. But despite us being a godlike entity after absorbing the Ice Titan, we were still missing simple raw materials such as chitin and crystal. Why do we need this at this point, you might ask? Well, listening back to what Recording Vex was saying... It appears that he wanted to place a single window inside of the base.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Yes. No, I'm dead serious. You'd think that his first thought would have been, okay, let's test the Ice Titan out. Or, let's farm some tributes now that I've got a strong dino. But no, windows are better. Yeah. The longer this video gets, the less hope I have for myself. Anyways, moving on to the windowless day of 75, there was but one thing I wanted to try out that I've never done before in Ark. An ancient technique studied by the one and only zany zebra himself. Painting. But due to a great calamity that unexpectedly struck, the paints didn't want to make themselves. Look, I don't know how or why. I literally put the exact resources from the wiki into the pot, but it just didn't want to work. Because of this, my day was effectively ruined. So, to cope with this, I decided to test out the Ice Titan's powers I recently obtained. And what did you think was going to happen? Testing them out in a safe environment where we won't hurt any dinos? Wrong! I single-handedly eviscerated every single creature within melee range until the morning of the next day. Which, the morning of the next day started off with me peacefully flying around. However, something felt off. I don't know how to explain it. However, it was as if someone was calling out to me. Help. What was that? Come to the tree. I'm not entirely sure what's happening, but something is telling me to go to the tree. The natural balance of the forest seems to have shifted for the worse. Hey, what the hell is going on? I heard some voice and I came here.
There is no time, child of the forest. Times are grim.
What's happening?
The three horsemen of the apocalypse have taken notice of your advances, and as punishment, have released their henchmen into these lands.
What does that mean?
Foes are running rampant around the fields and mountains, wreaking havoc and slaughtering the wildlife. The natural balance is completely shattered and the land is in dire need of your help.
Okay, tell me, what can I do?
You must find all of their henchmen and eliminate them. Only then will the natural balance be restored to its previous state. I have not much time, young one. You have served me well, child of the forest. Now, take my life essence into yourself. This will allow you to transmute materials into the tributes you need for the remaining bosses.
But that means you will die!
There is no time to mourn. My departure is for the greater good. Do what you must, and then, with your newfound power, go forth and cleanse these lands of evil. Once and for all. I am counting on you. Make me proud. In the first age, in the first battle, when the shadows first lengthened, one stood. He chose the path of perpetual torment. In his ravenous hatred, he found no peace, and with boiling blood, he scoured the umbral plains, seeking vengeance against the Dark Lords who had wronged him. And those that tasted the bite of his sword named him the Doomslayer.
I stood atop the world, gazing into the distance as the morning sun basked my blood-stained form. 4 long, restless days, filled with nothing but pure bloodshed, fueled by unfiltered rage and malice. Yet, it was not over. This was just the beginning. I felt it. The natural shift of balance worsened despite me killing everyone. I fear that there are foes outside of this world present. Life forms that share no interest in my feud for natural balance, but are only interested in one thing: bloodshed. As I stood atop the world, a distant roar could be heard coming from the thick forest. The Titans have arrived. The roots and branches interlink with each other, rising from the ground and giving birth to the Forest Titan. Nothing but a mere insult to the spirit tree who had my back this entire time. Its presence infuriated me. So, as this grove's keeper, it was my duty to find the corruption and rid it in its rotten core. Arriving to the heart of the forest, across me stood a Goliath made out of thorn and bramble, wreaking havoc across the sacred soil. Hey, you big clump of roots. Not much of a talker, huh? Well, that's okay. Besides, you won't be needing your mouth for anything other than spitting blood. Phew. Finally. The Titan is dead. Now, I get to fight the 3 horsemen. Are you fucking kidding me? Can I catch a break, dude? This game is treating me like I'm the head madam of a red light district. Well, I guess I should have seen it coming, huh? The king is here. And he's in his strongest form as well. The future of this land rests on my shoulders alone. I killed everyone who stood in my path. What makes your arrogant self think you will make a difference? King? Face me. Pussy. I can't believe this happened. Have I failed my master? Everyone that believed in me? My dinos? Greg! The imaginary goth girl in the corner of my room! I have failed them all. The only way I can atone for laying such a shame on the name of my family is... seppuku. Do I want to do it? Absolutely not. But it is a fate less cruel than being flamed by little kids how I couldn't even beat the easy King Titan boss. Farewell, cruel world. It was nice knowing you.
Hold it!
Oh my god, here we go again. Another one of my schizophrenic demons is trying to get me to buy day trading courses again.
Silence, you insolent fool! It is I, Greg.
Greg? How are you alive? I thought I absorbed you!
Silly child. You absorbed my life essence. Therefore, you absorbed my consciousness as well.
My master, I have failed you. The King Titan beat me. There is nothing I can do anymore. I lost.
Before giving up so soon, tell me, child, when one fails to rizz up a goth girl, does he quit? No! He sits and binge listens all of the popular metal bands, starts dressing like a stoner, And most important of all, he doesn't quit.
He's right.
So tell me, child of the forest, are you going to quit? Do you think that golf girls like quitters? Get up and train! Train until your bones crack! Get stronger and murder that amalgamation of tech! I've entrusted everything to you! My pride, my strength, my wood-hard penis, this forest's future, everything! Don't you dare go hollow.
I won't let you down, Master. After consulting with a higher deity, he told me to train. And over the course of 8 long, restless days, I trained until my bones cracked. From sunrise to nightfall, I was not allowed to rest even for a second. All of this desire, sense for longing, urge to protect, all of it was driven by one single thing. Content. Bear witness to the sickest training montage you've ever seen in your goddamn life. I'm getting messages while I'm recording. I'm going to fucking scream. I shadow boxed on the cliff, hitting all of my haters in their micro skulls. Ran so much that even David Goggins would give me a slap on the back and say, "Good job, my son." Got blackout drunk with my cats. Painted war helixes across my body to symbolize becoming one with the forest. And most important of all, smiled. At the end, I fell, but I stood up again, looked at where I fell short, and multiplied it tenfold. Master, am I finally ready to take revenge on the King Titan?
Revenge. Is that all you ever talk about?
What do you mean? I've grown so strong now. I can kill him and get all of the girls to like me now.
Shut your trap, dumbass! Have you not learned anything from that loss?
What?
Think, Vex! You have been fighting alone this entire time! Even Jesus had his disciples to help him spread the message across the world.
But I have nobody. I'm alone.
Not for long, child, as I shall now bestow my final teaching onto you.
What? Your final teaching? What is it?
Druidmancy, my child. A totally non-made-up term that I totally didn't invent for the sake of saving your ass because you bit off more than you could chew.
Wow, that sounds sick. And hey, I didn't bite off more than I could chew. This is all going according to plan.
Are you sure about that?
Okay, whatever, dude. Tell me, how does this Druidmancy work?
That's what I thought. Druidmancy is an ancient technique taught by the Elder Druids thousands of years ago to fend the corrupted invaders. Up until now, you've been beating major foes using your transformation abilities. What you didn't know is that you subconsciously absorb their forms into your very own being. This sacred technique will allow you to eject their forms back into reality as your companions, ready to reinforce you in battle.
Holy! That's so sick! Oh my god! Why didn't you tell me this sooner?
But be wary, my child, as this technique is extremely dangerous. Some druids have even lost their powers completely after using it. Only use it if it's necessary.
I will do what must be done. Thank you, Master. I promise. I will make you proud. Arriving at the battlegrounds, I landed and raised the dead into the realm of the living. Our king-slaying army consisted of 2 manticores,
Flying clusterfuck,
a broodmother,
Spideressy,
a megapithecus,
Monkey Piticus,
the forest titan, and the ice titan, whose form I'll be using. Now, it was about time to show this oversized lizard who's the boss. Looking deep inside my soul, only one thought echoed throughout my head. Show yourself, King. standing in the barren wastelands of what once housed the legendary battle where a titan and god clashed. I was surrounded by none other than corpses of both foes and friends. But one thing was crystal clear. I won. Not without cost though. All of the creatures I absorbed up until now were exhausted and I lost them entirely. Because of this, the final battle will need to wait, as we have to get our power back, which took up the entirety of day 92. Reabsorbing the Ice Kaiju was of the utmost priority. It was our only chance at besting the 3 horsemen. Now with the full Druid degree under our belt, we didn't have to spend days on end absorbing a single tame. Instead, all it required was a couple dozen hits. This is just a testament of how far we've come. As a cherry on top, since we lost our flyer, I also absorbed the lightning wyvern we had laying around. This will suffice. Flying towards the arena, I wasn't only prepared to die. Dying is too easy. I was prepared to kill. Arriving at the battle cathedral, I walked up to the terminal. Letting my hand rest upon it, for but a moment, I summoned the Nucus, which, for some godforsaken reason, decided to spawn underground. What the hell? Effectively wasting all of the tributes I busted both my back and ass for. There was but one more secret technique that the Tree of Life taught me. Cheating. Yeah, that's right. No, I am not going to tolerate the Nucus just deciding to eat my tributes and then leave. So I just shat out the tributes she ate and summoned her again. Time to hunt. That's one down. Only 2 tyrants remain. I will win. Nothing can stop me. Nothing other than missing resources. One thing that Godhood cannot rid us of is the necessity of having to brainlessly farm resources. Just a bit longer, Vex, please. Endure it for just a bit longer. You're almost out of this shithole. The remainder of day 93 was spent gathering gold, as it was the last tribute we were lacking. Now, on the following day, I paid a visit to the caves once again. Why, you might ask? Vex, didn't you say you hate caving? Yes, I do. But my opinion doesn't matter here. I am a mindless slave to the content I produce and am forced to do things I hate for the sake of entertaining my audience. No, seriously. I hate this game. Pointless emotions aside, the reason I had to go back into the caves again was because I was missing some artifacts. Reason being that they just didn't want to spawn while I was in the caves. One example of this phenomenon is the artifact of the coming. Sorry, cunning. Haha, get it? Funny sex joke equals big retention spike and big money. I am not entirely sure of why they didn't want to spawn, but it was rather annoying. Yeah, see, now the artifact is there, but when I was here 40 days ago, it wasn't. Hell yeah, thank you, Ark. Like, the days you've been seeing, guys, are half of the days, like, the activities you've been seeing is half of the activities that's been happening, because the other half is literally just me brainlessly searching for dinos and tributes. The fuck out of my way, bitch! Because of this, I spent the entirety of day 94 just going through caves in search of lost artifacts. Starting off with this quite peculiar cave up northeast. Why is it peculiar? Well, it's a maze. Yeah, that's about it. Okay, at least it's nice to know that the developer of the map actually put thought into the design. It doesn't stop there, however, as he also has a very creative sense of humor.
Free rock, J-Kegs! Just of all... Architecto, come on, man! Why you gotta do this to me?
At the end of the maze were the twin artifacts of the Hunter and the Brave. We can finally get the hell out of this maze. It's making me claustrophobic. Upon exiting it though, a shocking discovery unfolded before my very own eyes.
Fuck, I forgot to feed my dogs, man. Okay, that's it for this day.
Yup, sorry everyone, my dogs take priority. After feeding them, I returned back to playing the game. We're in the final stretch now, and after collecting the last 3 artifacts of the Devourer, Skylord, and Immune, we were ready to combat the next boss. Arius, the Dark Monkey. Two down, only the apex remains. After resting up from the battle, I spent the following 2 days farming up the rest of the tributes we were missing. But let's just skip over that part. I am itching to shed some blood.
Long and hard didst thou fight, and in the end prevailed as the Alpha. Now go forth, child of the forest. Enjoy all of the energy drinks and girly pop songs that your soul craves. May we meet again in a future maybe distant or close.